There are different risk factors that contribute to the risk of abuse and harm to children in early childhood education settings. The Royal Commission into Institutional Responses to Child Sexual Abuse identified 4 groups of risk factors. Understanding them will help you reduce the chances of harm occurring. The first is the environment. The space where children engage with adults can affect the potential for harm and abuse to occur. For example, children can be harmed if they can be unobserved in a space with adults who wish to harm them. Similarly, harm can occur where children are left alone with an adult out of sight of another adult. The vulnerability of the child. There are many things that can make a child vulnerable. These include cognitive development, age, culture, family background, and medical conditions. Where possible, educators should be provided with information on enrolment about which children may require additional support. They should also be supported to recognise hidden vulnerabilities, such as identifying possible signs of abuse. Propensity of the adult to abuse. It's difficult to think that anyone in your service would abuse a child. You know them. However, research shows that some adults pose a risk to children if they have an opportunity to interact with them. There is no typical offender when it comes to child abuse. When considering whether an adult would harm a child sexually, we should refer to the research about different kinds of offenders. There are determined offenders, opportunistic offenders, and situational offenders. Determined offenders are what we often refer to as pedophiles. They have a sexual interest in children and can be quite skilled at disguising their behaviour and manipulating others, including adults. Opportunistic offenders wouldn't normally abuse children, but if an opportunity to offend against the child presents itself and the organisation has a poor child-safe practice, they will weigh up their options. If they feel the perceived benefit outweighs the chance of being caught, they're more likely to abuse a child. Situational offenders typically have no interest in children sexually, but because of their regular and close proximity to them, the lines of appropriate behaviour become blurred. Organisational risk. Services where the rights of children aren't prioritised or which do not empower children to feel confident to provide input or share their concerns are more likely to be places where harm occurs. Services that don't have policies or procedures regarding adult interactions with children and a lack of awareness of the need for child safety are more likely to be places where children are harmed. You can address and reduce the risk of abuse and harm to children in your organisation if you apply the Child Safe Standards. You should develop risk management plans which identify all the possible risks to children and develop strategies to keep them safe. Where possible, the physical environment should be altered to allow for a clear line of sight in spaces where children will be present. Leaders in the organisation should remain mindful that some educators may find the work challenging, and they should take steps to ensure workers are skilled, supported, and understand that their duty of care is always towards the children they are looking after. Children can be empowered with protective behaviours training so they know they can speak up if they have any concerns. Research has shown that these children are less likely to be targeted by perpetrators. When a service has a culture of putting children's safety first, such as having embedded codes of conduct, child-safe policies and procedures, and a culture of reporting concerns, the likelihood of offenders succeeding is reduced. You should have clear policies and procedures which describe how adults should interact with children. These should be communicated to everyone involved with your service, including, in a developmentally appropriate way, to children. You can create posters and other easy-to-understand prompts to support their understanding. You should have clear protocols in place so adults and children who are concerned about the behaviour of others know how to report their concerns. Everyone interacting with your service should know you prioritise being child safe. Similarly, staff need to know what to do if a child behaves in a way that indicates they may have been harmed outside of your environment. For more information on the Child Safe Standards and free resources, including videos, e-learning, samples and templates, visit ocg.nsw.gov.au today.